Okay, Shalom Israel. I want to continue where I left off at. We was dealing with the word year. And the word year in Hebrew is the Strong's number 8141, and it means Shana, and it means a revolution of time. So again, when the moon leaves its stage, okay, and it now goes around the sun, when it makes a complete revolution, because that's what a year is. A year is a revolution. What is making the revolution? The revolution is the sun, excuse me, the earth and the moon going around the sun. So when, because the moon goes through different phases, we have the waxing crescent, the first quarter, the waning gibbous, then we have the full moon, then we have the waning gibbous, then we have the third quarter, then we have the waxing crescent, and then we have the darkness of the moon, and then after that we have the first waxing crescent again, which is the first sighting of the moon. So again, I don't have a whole lot of fancy theatrics here, okay? So brothers, you're going to have to deal with me with that, you know, for a moment until I'm able to upgrade a little bit more and be able to show all of the fancy work and leg work and all that other stuff, showing pictures and things like that. But again, this is also important too, because this gives you the opportunity, okay, to double check what I'm saying. Because again, prove all things, and that's what I would like to do. I've done the research on this thing, and I'm very comfortable with what I'm bringing out. So only thing that you would have to do now is make sure that the things that I'm saying is correct. And if it's not correct, leave some information, and I can clear it up a little bit more. But I'm pretty confident, you know. But again, nobody is dead right. Okay, I just want to make sure of that, again, because we're dealing with translations. But again, now what I want to do is read Exodus 12 and 2 from a Hebraic perspective. Okay, so this gives us a better spin on what's going on here. This is the way that I have it here. It says, this renewed moon, and this is Exodus 12 and 2, this renewed moon is the beginning. And the word beginning is the word reshit. And the word reshit means the head, the summit, or the first. So this renewed moon is the beginning of renewed moons for you, because it's not actually a new moon. All right, this is the same moon going through its different phases, and we call that moon the renewed moon. And that renewed moon happens at the first sighting. All right, renewed moon for you, for it is the first sliver after the earth and the moon has completed a revolution around the sun. Now, this first sliver is a reference to the Messiah. Now, I'm going to go to Genesis, okay, to give that whole breakdown there. Again, we're talking about the Sod, S-O-D, the Sod level, or the mystery understanding of the scripture. That's very important, because the Bible is talking about the Messiah from Genesis to Revelation. And I'm going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this first sliver is a reference to the Messiah. And that can be proven in detail in the book of Bereshit, or the way that I like to say, Bara Ashiyath, which is the book of Genesis. Now, what I also want to do now to help bring some clarity with this thing here about the first sliver of the moon, or the astronomical moon, I want to go to the book of Shemot, or the book of Exodus, the 13th chapter, the 4th verse. Okay, so this is Exodus 13 and 4. It says, this day came ye out in the month of Abib, A-B-I-B. What we have to do now is, again, understand what does this word Abib, A-B-I-B, means. Because all of the months of the year, okay, go by first month, second month, third, fourth, all the way down to get to the 12th month. And there's a second Adar, which is added, and I get into that a little bit later on. But we have to understand now, what does the word Abib mean? Because that was the only month that was given a name. Again, our oppressors taught us, okay, to give these months names, and that happened during the Babylonian captivity. That's very important for us to understand. The only month that was given a name is the first month, and that month is called the month of Abib. Now, but what's important now, we have to understand, why was that month called Abib? Now, what I did after that is I Went into the Strong Concordance again to try to get a better understanding of this whole thing. The word Abib is the Strong's number 24. And the word Abib means to be tender. Green, that is a young ear of grain. Hence the name of the month Abib or Nisan. So, long story short, the word Abib means green or tender. So there was something happening agriculturally in Jerusalem at this time. But again, now I understand now this is talking about when we were coming out of Egypt. But everything is centered around Jerusalem or Yerushalayim. Because we all know the scripture in Deuteronomy 16:16, where it says 3 times a year, all males must report to Jerusalem. Now, in order for us to know that, we have to know when the count starts. When is the beginning of the year? And what does the word Abib, A-B-I-B, has to do with us understanding when this count begins? And again, the word Abib is the Strong's number 24, and it means to be tender, green, that is a young ear of grain. Hence the name of the month Abib or Nisan. You know, that's the way they got the name from. Now, this is the way that we're going to read this now in Hebrew here. And that was Exodus 13:4. What I needed to do now, okay, look the word today. It says in Exodus 13:4, it says this day. This day is what day? That's the question. If someone was asking you a question regarding this scripture and it said this day, what day would you tell that individual that asked you the question, what does it mean when it says this day? Now, this day means this. Today, you are going out in the 15th, okay, daytime hours of the first renewed moon cycle called Aviv. A-V-I-V, some have it A-B-I-B. I'm going to read it again because that word, this day, what day is this day? What day is that? And again, I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to bring out scriptures to prove what I'm saying because I said a whole lot of stuff in here. It says, today you are going out in the 15th. So this day here is the 15th daytime hours of the first renewed moon cycle called the V. Why? Because the question is now, what day did Israel, we come out of Egypt? Was it the 14th or was it the 15th? And I'm going to go through scriptures proving beyond a shadow of a doubt when it says this day is talking about the 15th. All right? The 15th. Now, let's go to the book of Shemot or Exodus. I'm going to read 12:23. 12:23. It says, for the Messiah will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he see the blood upon the lintel and on the 2 side posts, okay, the Messiah will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto you, unto your houses to smite you. So again, when did this happen? Did this event happen on the 14th or did it happen on the 15th? Because remember, Exodus 13:4 says today. What day was that? And I'm going to let you know, I'm going to take you off the hook. It was not the 14th. It was the 15th daytime hours. Again, let's let the scriptures speak. Let's now go to the book of Shemot, the 12th chapter, the 29th verse. Now, and it came to pass that at midnight, this is how time runs. After the 14th, okay, we have the 15th nighttime. That's very important. After the completion of the 14th, understanding from evening to evening, after the 14th, okay, after the lamb was slaughtered and the blood was put on the lintel and on the 2 side posts, And the death angels are now flying over the house, okay, that has the blood of the Messiah on it, okay, because this lamb was representing the blood of the Messiah. This was all foreshadowing the actual coming of the Messiah that John the Baptist spoke of. Behold, the lamb that taketh away the sins of the world. So we notice to talk about the nation of Israel, and the nation of Israel has a responsibility to the other nations. So I get into that later. I don't want to go too far off. But again, now after the 14th evening, you have the 15th nighttime. Now at midnight, okay, of the 15th, we have a situation going on. At midnight, it said, and at that time, and it came to pass that at midnight, okay, the Messiah smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. From the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, or as it has in Hebrew, house of the pit, and all the firstborn of cattle. So now, again, 14th, at the end of the 14th evening, we have the 15th, okay, nighttime hours. At midnight of the 15th, we had the firstborns of Pharaoh and all of his men and cattle being destroyed. Now, the 30th verse. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, okay, in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt. For there was not a house where there was not one dead. When was this situation happening? What time was this? This was at midnight or a little after midnight. After the midnight now, what's happening? We're now beginning to go into the daytime hours. I'm going to say it again. After midnight, okay, we're now starting to go into the 15th daytime hours. Now, let's go to verse 31. And he, which is Pharaoh, called for Moshe and Aharon by night and said, Rise up, get you forth from amongst my people, or we put it in layman's term, get the hell up out of here. All right? I see what's going on here. The Most High is dealing with you guys. The Most High is the power of Yasha-Allah of Israel. So this is what Pharaoh was saying. He said now, and he called for Moses and Aaron, Aharon by night, and said, Rise up and get you forth from amongst my people. So there's a separation here. There's the Egyptian people and there's the Israelites people. So listen, get the Israelites out of here. Be gone. Go. Ghosts. Leave. From amongst my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go and serve the Most High as you have said. Now, this is going to be the very interesting part here is Numbers 33. Numbers 33, Bat Mitbar 33 and 3. 33 and 3. And they, which is Israel, departed from Ramsey in the first month. At the completion of the moon, making its complete cycle around the sun, is now the renewed moon. In the first month, at the first renewed moon month, okay, the month of Abib, on the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow after the Passover. After the Passover, we're talking about after the 14th, okay, after the Passover, and the children of Israel went out with a high hand in the sight, okay, of all the Egyptians. I'm going to read it again. And they departed from Ramsey in the first month on the 15th day of the first month on the morrow after the Passover. On the morrow after the Passover, the children of Israel went out with a high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians. Okay, Israel left Egypt on the 15th daytime hours. This is the reason why